exponentially raise the risks that an American crewman could be shot down?
Well, as Dr. Rhodes said, they've been firing at us every day for quite a long time, so we know them pretty well. And I'm not sure that the risks have increased any, but we have been able to turn up the volume of activity over there over the last few days.
And the fact that you have turned up the volume of the activity, we saw B-1 bombers used, I believe, for the first time there. Should we take that as a rehearsal for war? Are these air crews essentially already picking targets?
Well, what we've seen is the right airplane put against the right targets, and I think it's not much more than that. I think you've had a ride in the B-1, Lester. You know what it can do. It's a very capable machine, and we got the greatest airmen in the world flying them.
And the two men in charge of the U.S. Air Force, my guest earlier. Now, with war almost certain, military strategists are calculating how the first few hours of a U.S.-led war against Iraq will unfold. Joining us now in the studio is retired Air Force Colonel John Warden, MSNBC military analyst and architect of the Desert Storm Air Campaign. Colonel, thanks for coming on. Part of the discussion earlier was the issue of civilian casualties. We've heard a lot about the precision weapons that will be brought to bear here. What are your thoughts about the claims and the predictions that a lot of civilians are going to die under that bombardment?
There actually will probably be very, very few civilian casualties will die as a result of the air operations. It's amazing that over the last few years that the casualties created by air operations have been significantly lower than anything that's been our historical experience. Where civilians normally really get hurt is when you get into ground operations. So we would hope that we don't get places where a lot of civilians get stuck between two actively fighting ground forces. That's the dangerous part.
Give me a sense of the kickoff to war from the aerial perspective. What in general is
B-2s go in, the cruise missiles go in at the same time. They take out any remaining Iraqi air defense, of which there's probably not a great deal left.
So this is the surprise portion here.
This is the surprise portion, and the technology is so extraordinary that you could tell the Iraqis that you were coming in at a certain time, and the chances that they would be able to do anything about those stealthy airplanes is pretty darn low.
Do you eliminate the ability for them to contact each other in other words, if you take out early warning radar in the south, will they know about it in Baghdad, or are you cutting
they'll know about it, because when you cut the communications, that people are aware that the communications have been cut. But what I would presume that would happen is, especially with all of the precision weapons that are now available, communications will go down, command centers will go down, everything goes down in a much more intense way than happened in the Gulf War, because there's so many more precision weapons. Produced a terrible problem for the Iraqis.
If in fact this is happening in the air and on the ground simultaneously, do you simply overwhelm their decision-making power? Do things happen at such a rapid pace it's impossible to make the right judgment?
Yeah, it's called parallel war, and